You're listening to the Beans and Dice podcast, a podcast about how we game.
Hey, folks, welcome to the Beans and Dice podcast. I'm Carlos.
I'm Rob.
And today we're doing our first together
First together.
Colin show.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining, Rob.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me on. It's going to be a blast. I saw the one you ran a few days ago, and that seemed to go really well. So.
That was fun.
Yeah.
That was a lot more fun than I expected.
Yeah.
It went a lot faster than I expected.
A lot of participation. A lot of people called in, so that was good.
Yeah, we'll see. I know that was a lot of our buddies called in because we asked them to call so we can test out the systems.
Helping us out, yeah.
So that was cool. But this one I blasted out on the InterTubes.
I saw that, yeah.
Put it out there on the Dice Tower page, the Board Gaming Hobby page, the Board Gaming Spotlight page.
Yep, the local Tampa group, and yep, I saw that.
We'll see if we get any traction, if anybody wants to join us.
Sure.
I'm looking forward to it because I just want to talk about games.
Yeah, well, if nothing else, you and I will just chat for the next hour. But hopefully we'll get some participation so people call in, talk about games that they've played, games that they're interested in. They can probably introduce us to some new stuff. And,
right.
And hopefully we can maybe talk about some things people don't know as much about, some oldies but goodies, or whatever comes up. So
yep, 813-618-7099 is the number.
Yep.
So that is the call-in number to get a hold of us at. We're going to open the phone lines here right about now. So we're going to open those phone lines and see if anyone decides to jump in.
Yep. Our plan is we'll kind of just chat a little bit about some things that we've been up to, and then if people call in, we'll pause and jump on, talk to the caller, and see what they're looking for, and then again in between we'll just kind of jump back to what we were discussing before.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Games that we've been playing and things that we've done. Looks like we got a comment online. Carlos cheated last night during Detective City of Angels.
I wonder who that could be. So 4 of us played, so it can only be one of 2 other people.
That's Mike.
That's Mike. Oh,
that's
okay.
Mike
So you
Lorenzo.
already identified him.
Oh yeah, I can tell by the face on that mug there.
He's not trying to be unidentifiable. Yeah.
No, and if by cheating he means won,
that you won. Yeah.
That's me.
Yep. You did win.
This guy.
We played through the intro scenario of Detective City of Angels. It's a game that I've wanted to play for a while. I know I had been talking it up. I know Mike Lorenzo, who made the comment, really had been wanting to play it. Dan, the owner of Your Turn, a board game cafe in Zephyr Hills, hosted us. He had a copy of the game. He's actually got the expansion as well, but he had a copy on his shelves that I've been eyeballing for about 3 or 4 months now. And so we finally got it together and got a play of it. None of us had played before. It was me, you, Dan, the shop owner, and Mike. And we kind of learned it on the fly. We all watched a little bit online. We watched a couple how to play videos. Dan played what they call the chisel in the game, kind of the DM, the one who runs the game. So he read through the case before and kind of learned all the things he needed to know about the case to run it. And I'm going to say that Dan did a great job. It was the first time, like I say, any of us had done it. They recommend the chisel be somebody who's played the game before, if possible.
He owned the game, though, right?
Right. So yeah, he had a copy there at the shop, so he owned it, but he had never read the rules or anything, as far as I understand. So he read it. It was either the night before or the morning of when we went to play it, and so he kind of read through and learned the case. That, again, that's what they recommend. The person running it kind of goes through and knows the options, kind of comes up with a little bit of a plan of how they're going to run the game. And then the other people play as the detectives trying to solve a case. From what I understand, most of them are murder mysteries. There's different settings and there's different people involved. But he did a real good job, I think, of kind of keeping us flowing. He said he was trying to keep it balanced. He was trying not to give any of us any more information than the next person. So he was interested in seeing it be competitive and all of us have a good time. But yeah, how did you like it?
All right, so my thoughts, right? Winning always helps.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I do have something to compare it to, though, because I have played and I do own Detective, a modern crime board game. It's Portal Games.
Right.
Pull it up on the BGG.
Okay.
We'll get the details on it. It's a Portal game. I've had that one. I've played that one with David Carlton. We played that one together, and I really enjoyed that. And I've heard people compare the two.
Right.
So they compared the City of Angels versus Detective Modern Day Board Game,
Sure.
or Modern Crime Game,
Modern crime board game. Yep.
and they were two very different experiences.
Yep, I've got it up here on the BGG page. The overall, I'll click here so we can look a little closer at the components and some of the games set up. But a 7.9 rating, which is a very good rating on BGG. This came out in 2018. It's 1 to 5 players. It says... I don't know if I've seen this before. I didn't look close. The recommended number of players is none, it says. I don't know if I've ever seen that, so I'm not sure what that is.
That's a first.
So the game plays itself, essentially, but it says 120 to 180
In
minutes.
Mother Russia, gameplay you.
Yeah, there you go, exactly. So, but you've played it. It says 120 to 180 minutes. I know there's multiple scenarios in the box, and so I'm assuming a lot of the variability can depend on which scenario you're playing. But again, I haven't played this one yet. I've seen and heard a lot about it. When it came out in 2018, there was a lot of buzz about it. And I'll click here so we can get a little better view of kind of some of the artwork and some of the components. But tell us how did that play? I know you and David Carlton played remotely, right?
We did. It was right at the peak of the COOF stuff, right?
Yeah.
And we did play remotely. It was through Discord.
Okay, yeah.
I set up a room in Discord, and we played together. It was so much more... Okay, so let me give my thoughts on City of Angels.
Okay, yeah.
And forgive me, what was the name of that?
Detective City of Angels, yeah.
So they're both called Detective.
Yep.
So I'm not wrong, because I feel like I was going to be wrong if I said Detective. But they're both called Detective.
Yep.
Okay. So they're both Detective. City of Angels, which is by Van Ryder Games.
Van Ryder, yep.
And we knew Van Ryder Games because of their books.
The graphic novels, yep.
Choose Your Own Adventure style graphic novels that they did.
Yep, kind of like that, yep.
That's how we knew of them. And I will say that is more encompassing of City of Angels.
Right.
Which from now on I'll call it City of Angels versus Modern Crime board game.
There you go.
City of Angels is a lot less text, a lot less of narrative in it, but a lot more of I feel like deduction style. Mm-hmm. I point to 13 Clues, right? So that's a game that we picked up at, if I remember correctly, that was Cool Mini or Not Expo. Is where we got a copy. Each got a copy.
That may have been cool.
So a copy went to your house,
yep.
Copy went to my house. We've played with our families. We haven't played together yet.
Yep.
But that's more of like that very much a clue style deduction game,
right?
Where you're having to figure out A, B, and C, and present A, B, and C as the facts to say I win the game or I don't. So kind of binary.
Sure.
Either you pick these, the weapon, the suspect, and the motive, or you fail.
Okay. Yep.
I found Detective to be so much more open world.
Oh yeah. Mm.
Right, because instead of having this ABC style of pick, find in the same way of 13 Clues, weapon, person, location. Detective City of Angels is suspect, weapon, motive. In Modern Crime, it's almost of a test online at the end, and it asks you about different things.
Right.
And it's a wider range, a wider scale. It's not as it's more granular, I'll say.
Okay.
Because it's got more detail in there that you can get right or wrong on the point scale.
And that reminds me a lot of a game I have played, Chronicles of Crime. At the end of each scenario in Chronicles of Crime, they have a list of about 5 questions they ask you. The first couple are the main crime that was committed, like who committed the crime, what was the weapon, but then it'll go into more of almost kind of like Detective City of Angels did. It's going to ask you for like maybe a motive. It's going to ask you, a couple other just questions just to make sure that you went to all the right places and asked the right people the right things, so that you had the whole story, that you didn't kind of just piece together the main parts, that you had the motive and what was going on, why it happened, how it happened, that kind of thing. So yeah.
Because it even asks you about the characters in there, was so-and-so X, or did so-and-so, did so-and-so do this? Do you believe he did that, right? Ancillary stuff outside of the main arc. And I think it's because in Modern Crime, the Portal game version, there is a larger story arc. And folks, once again, this is a live call-in show, 813-618-7099 is the number to call in and talk to us. Have you played either of these detective games? Detective Modern Crime board game, Detective City of Angels,
Chronicles of Crime.
Chronicles of Crime, 13 Clues.
13 Clues, sure.
Another detective-style deduction game.
Clue? Going way back.
Clue, taking it
13
back.
Clues it reminds me of Clue. It's a more updated, a little more modern version of Clue, but you don't have a board that you're moving around. But
and that's what I'm saying is like I feel like City of Angels is more of that venue.
Yeah.
It's more of a game.
Right. Yeah, on a board.
There's a winner, there's not a winner.
Yeah. Yeah, in the City of Angels, everybody's competing, so we're all all the detectives are competing against each other. If nobody wins, then the DM, what they call the chisel, officially wins. But they recommend that the chisel not be trying to make the game so hard that one of the detectives doesn't win. So the main job of the chisel, again, is to kind of be a game master, kind of like a dungeon master or something in Dungeons & Dragons, just trying to make sure everybody else has a good time. You're parceling out the information. So what happens in Detective City of Angels is there's the chisel person who plays kind of the suspects and, like I say, kind of the game leader. But the detectives are going to different locations. They're questioning people about what happened. The chisel has a list of possible answers, and each time they're asked a question about something, there's a best answer that they can give, and then there's some answers that are not so good, that are flat out lies, basically. And so without getting into all the details of the game, you're going to question a particular person about a particular thing. The chisel then looks in the book. He sees all the possible answers. He's going to choose whether he wants to give you the right answer or give you a bad answer. And if he chooses a bad answer, well, he's going to put one in a little envelope and slide it to you. You're going to read what that answer is, and then you have a choice to either challenge him if you think he's lying, or to accept that piece of information. If you accept it, then you make your notes in your book and you just kind of move along. If you challenge, there's a process where you have to give him one of your tokens, and then he will either, if he gave you the best answer, he will keep the token on his player board, which then gives him leverage to be able to deny you questions later, or be able to lie to you flat out or whatever without you being able to do much about it. Or if he was giving not the best answer, he then is forced to give you the best answer, or the best answer that person can give. But then you gain leverage over that witness or that suspect. And then when you ask them questions in the future, the chisel is forced to give you the best answer.
Because you have leverage on them.
Right, and you've gotten the leverage the other way. So it's a really neat mechanic on trying to figure out when he might be lying to you, when he might be giving you the best answer. Sometimes the best answer is a nonsense answer, but that character may not know what happened. They may not know anything about the crime, and so you kind of have to figure it out as you go along about who might really know what's going on here.
The character just might be dumb.
Yeah, well, and we saw that. Dumb, D-U-M, was the name of one of the characters.
We won't give up any spoilers here. Not from me.
And that's in the opening setup. So, I mean, again, that's when you read the intro. They tell you D and Dumb and Charlie, I think, was the other three.
Yep, that's the intro setup. And I think that's a big part of City of Angels that separates it, right? That I think really separates it from the different games that I called out as similar to it in my experience.
Sure.
When I say modern crime board game, and when I say 13 Clues, right? The difference is Dan, the dungeon master.
Sure. Yeah.
So now I'm not just playing against Chronicles of Crime, the computer. I'm not playing against Ignacy Trzewiczek's Antares database that he created.
There you go.
Right. I'm playing against another human being.
Right.
And there's that bluffing aspect of, do I really trust that Dan gave me the best answer that character that I'm asking can give me?
That's a big part of it. Yeah.
Or is Dan afraid of giving me a lesser answer in fear that I'll catch him, so he gives me the best answer? There's that back and forth play that made it a fun game.
Yeah, yeah. And one thing I just pulled up here, again, I went back, I showed this picture just a minute ago, but one of the big differences, I guess we haven't discussed at all, was that in Detective City of Angels, you're in 1940s, like film noir, L.A. Detective, and the art in this game, even just for the introductory scenario that we played, the art on the cards, the portraits of the suspects, the cover art of the game is really...
The posters of the different scenarios, because each scenario has, in the index,
Yep.
or in the table of contents has a poster to it.
Yep.
And they're all lovely.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's beautiful artwork.
Beautiful artwork as shown here. The flip side of that is in Detective: A Modern Crime. That is modern day, from what I understand. I mean, that's all current technology.
It is
current.
Yep. Very modern day.
So two very different settings. We're talking 1940s versus 2020. So so that's a big difference in the games, and they play differently. Obviously, part of that as well is the Modern Crime board game. You're using the internet. They actually have you online on the computer in the databases, searching for information on fictitious websites and things to get information. In City of Angels, it's all out of books. Although Van Ryder, as we discovered, has a nice little feature that they've added for free. You can go to their website. In the little introduction to each one of the crimes, they have professional voice actors who are actually reading it. And it'd be nice if they did that for the epilogue at the end,
right,
wrapping up the story. Again, Dan pointed out that they may not have done that just because they don't want somebody accidentally clicking it and hearing information they don't want to hear. But the intros to each one of them is kind of nice. They have background music and noise, and it really kind of sets the scene for you. So it's really well done.
I think the differences again between the Van Ryder side is the compactness, the limited amount of information that you're getting from each piece of evidence, that you're getting from the suspects, right? The cards themselves had sentences.
Oh, yeah.
At most, right?
Sure, yeah, right.
Whereas Modern Crime board game had paragraphs.
Yeah.
Paragraphs on paragraphs on paragraphs, flip the card over, read more paragraphs. So it's just an abundance of information in there that you're going to have to trudge through to figure out what's important here, what's not. You're going to be not only interrogating the suspects like we did in City of Angels, you're going to be fingerprinting them, right? And then you're going to run those fingerprints against different items, and you're going to find different items. But you have to, your resource in Modern Crime board game is time.
Okay. Yep.
So each time you choose to go down a lead, it's going to cost you time. And when you run out of time, you run out of game. It's over.
Okay.
So you only have so much time to go different places. So it really is deciding what's important, what's not. You might be having a good interrogation going, and you feel like you're kind of getting somewhere, but then it says, all right, to continue this, you must spend another 2 hours.
Oh, wow.
Or do you want to end it here? Right?
End it.
Right. And then and each day only has so many hours in a workday. And if you exceed that day's hours in a workday, you pick up stress tokens. Stress tokens go against your points at the end of the game. So there's a lot more balancing of tokens, resources, time management, a lot more data that I've got to mine through to figure out what's important. So there's a lot more opportunities to kind of be thrown off the trail.
And now, is that mostly online, or is there an equal amount of printed stuff in hand that you're dealing with, or is it mostly on the database?
I would say mostly it is balanced.
Okay.
I would say it's balanced.
Okay.
Because the database, the cards give you information. So you might find an item, and then you take it online, put in the code, and tell it what you want to do. So when you go to the lab, you take it online and say, I want you to check this, right? Do a chemical analysis of this product.
Okay.
And then it finds the soil, and then it says this type of soil is normally found in this place because it had this. You're like, oh, what's this soil from? Now you got this whole different lead. Like there's this dirt from this weird country that only applies to this plant. What do I do with that information? So then you kind of run back and forth from different locations to try to figure out how do I connect these dots. So I mean, but it leads you to more rabbit holes.
Yeah, just
so it does
decide
feel
the right trails to go down. Yeah,
you called it work. I think is the word you used.
Well, that's like I said, I've seen that over online. I've seen that a lot of write-ups and things on that game that people say it's quote unquote work that. You got to know going into that it's almost like being a real detective. I mean, and I think that's what they tried to simulate. I think when it first came out, at least that's how they build it. They said, this is stepping into the shoes of a real modern day crime detective. So yeah.
And every time I flipped the card, it was funny because David Carlton and I laughed. Every time I flipped the card to go somewhere or do something, it had me eating.
Oh, right.
And it's like you grab your Chinese food and you.
Well, that's appropriate.
And I'm like, this is pretty cool. I feel like a detective. Like like I'm Mike Lowry.
Yeah.
This is Bad Boys.
Yeah.
So I found that one to be a longer game. When I say that one, I say Modern Crime.
Yeah.
I found that one to be a longer game, but I also found it to be so much more immersive.
Okay.
Like I really felt like I was in a detective's shoes.
Sure.
working together, completely together with other detectives, David. Whereas City of Angels felt like a game.
Okay.
Which I think, and it depends on what you're looking for, folks.
Yeah. Remind everybody of that phone number. See if anybody...
813-618-7099. Give us a ring, 813-618-7099. And give us a shout. Tell us, have you played any of these games? What were your thoughts on these deduction-style, detective-style games? Give us your opinions on it. Again, this is an open phone line style is what we're hoping to get here.
Yeah, some audience participation if possible. Yeah.
Don't be afraid to dial in. Tell us have you played or what else have you played?
Yeah, anything else. I mean, we're open. We're going to learn about some new games. We want to look some things up. So we've got the internet here. We can jump on.
We got a caller, Robert.
Oh, excellent. All right.
First caller.
Cool.
Let's take a peek here and see what we got. Hello, caller. State your name and where you're calling from.
Hey, Carlos, this is Nick from Wesley Chapel.
Hey, Nick.
Hey, Nick. How you doing, Bobby?
I'm good. Hey, Rob, how's it going, man?
Hey.
All right, we got you loud and clear. What topic do you got for us today?
Well, no, I just actually tuned in. The big topic here is putting the kids to bed and then tuning into your show.
Awesome.
And I caught the end of the detective game, and actually, it's funny. I was just unboxing a little bit ago the Chronicles of Crime massive Kickstarter that they did, and I'm sitting here staring at Chronicles of Crime on my game shelf, admitting that I have not actually played it yet.
I was going to ask if you tried it yet. Yeah.
Wait, hold on. Let me interrupt. I get that you haven't played it. I have it. I have not played it.
I've played it.
But have you, at minimum, put on the glasses and threw it on your head?
Nothing.
Wow. No, it's
bad person. Oh no, and it gets worse too, because I don't know if you remember, Christmas is coming. Chronicles of Crime. This is the game that Landis actually fought tooth and nail for in the gift exchange.
Oh, that's right.
Year,
I remember that
2019 gift exchange. Yeah. Which was, I mean, he didn't fight tooth and nail. I think he stole it one time from someone, probably Mo. Or something, but but no, we still haven't played it. I remember actually, Rob, you mentioned that it may be a little adulty for him.
A little bit. It's not too bad. And, one thing I will say is I originally went into it thinking, I think it plays, well, you can play, I think, basically as many people as you want. You're not limited because you don't actually have characters. But there's only so much for each person to do. And so if you have too many people play, or when I originally bought it, I figured this was going to be great for my family of 5 to all sit around and play. When I've been doing a little more looking at it online and doing a little research, I'm seeing a lot of people saying that it plays best at 2 to 3. And I'm starting to kind of get that, because with 2 or 3 players, there's enough for everybody to do. Somebody can handle the app. Somebody can kind of strategize. Somebody can keep track of the time as it goes by, because you got time units in that game that you're trying to not go down any of the wrong paths, because then you waste time going after certain suspects or searching certain locations and things, and you run out of time and you can't get all the answers that you need to score well on the scenario. But with 2 or 3 players, I think you get enough interaction where you can kind of bounce ideas off of each other, and then there's just enough to keep everybody busy with that many. If you go to 4 or 5, the first time I played it, we played it with 5, my whole family, and the kids were kind of fighting over, it's my turn to run the app, it's my turn to flip the cards or whatever, because there wasn't quite enough for everybody to do. But that game is fun. It is a really unique thing where they had the app, and you've got QR codes on all the cards, and you're scanning with your app on your phone. You're just scanning the QR code, and you can ask anybody about anything. Like if you run into a suspect or a witness or something, or just a person on the street, you scan their card, and then it says, what do you want to ask them about? And then let's say you've got a piece of evidence. Let's say you found a knife at the crime scene. So then you scan the knife, and so the app then puts together that I'm asking this person about this item, and then it gives you a piece of information. So whether they know something about it or don't know something about it, and then it's sending you to different locations as you play the game. You start out with just 1 or 2 locations, but as you start moving around, you open up new locations that you pull out of a box and you put on the board. And so it's really dynamic. It really scales are up and down, and they've got several scenarios in the base game in the box that when you get it, and they're different difficulties. You've got some that are easy, some that are medium, some that are hard, which was similar to L.A. I forget. City of Angels.
City of Angels.
City of Angels. There we go. I got to remember what to call it. City of Angels. They had
Detective.
Yeah, detective. They're all detective. Yeah,
Detective.
There's 9 scenarios in that one. There was 3 kind of easy, 3 medium, and 3 hard. But yeah, Chronicles of Crime is a really good one. That one came out a little earlier. Actually, I can see if I can pull it up on the BGG here.
I'll be honest. I don't think that I rushed to even play my copy. I think the idea of the goggles felt gimmicky to me.
Oh,
So like I'm not giving it a fair shot. Maybe.
I will tell you right now, Carlos. And by the way, Rob, I'm sold, and I'm glad we chatted about this because getting the heads up on the 2 to 3 players is good. I think maybe it'd be great for me, Joyce and Landis, to give it a shot then. But yes, I am holding those goggles in my hand, Carlos, right now, just for you. I have officially opened opened the box and pulled it out, and now I'm trying to figure out what I'm supposed to be even looking at with the goggles to make them do something. But,
we want to talk about audience interaction. There we go. This is at its finest, yeah?
They are. No, and actually, that does remind me some of the stuff you just talked about, Rob. Joyce and I, and actually the timing was really good. We just finished the very, very base game of Arkham Horror, the living card game, living card game,
LCG, yeah.
Which was very much the darker theme, but still, 2 detectives going around collecting clues and trying to solve the mystery of all the deaths happening in Arkham. No spoilers on the show,
Right.
Because it is kind of a game, a story to unpack. But that was our first.
Wait, which Arkham are we talking about?
That whole room.
Arkham Horror, the LCG?
Arkham Horror,
The LCG.
LCG.
Okay.
LCG, yep, the card game, yep.
Yeah, that one. That one was fun.
Yeah. We played through that.
Joyce and I we just finished the Scenario 3. We just finished the base box.
Yeah.
I think it was one night Rob and I were like, we were binging it so much.
Right.
And we were like, okay, one more. And then I think I fell asleep.
You fell asleep about 1 o'clock in the morning. I finished that scenario on my own, and I failed miserably because I didn't have your mind in there. But I think I woke you up the first 2 or 3 times, and then I was like, after that, it was forget about it. I'm just gonna finish it out, and I'm going home. So
I lost sanity and got knocked out.
Yeah, exactly. So thematic.
But that one did a great job of, without spoilers, it did a great job of connecting the images on the cards, right? So like there were items inside of an image on the card. So the cards all have an illustration of a scene or a room or an item. And I remember the story connecting a card, the items in the card, to how to succeed at it.
Sure.
Right. We had to get ice from this. We had to get this barrel and fill it with snow to then throw it on the fire. Right. These are all the things that we had to kind of figure out on our own.
Yeah.
Because of the cards. Yeah. Just looking at the images. So that one did a good job connecting that way.
I said you and I played through the first 5, but from what I understand, as you buy, and as anybody who knows anything about that game, there are countless expansions and mini expansions, and it's been going on for years now. But supposedly they take just a basic set of cards and they use them in such unique ways through each one of those expansions that it completely blows people's minds about, oh, wow, they did that with just a deck of cards. And so that's where I've looked forward to getting into that. And I know a couple of guys in our game group, I was actually happy to hear, Nick, that you were getting into it. But me and Muhammad have talked for over a year now about maybe trying to get into it.
I think we borrowed his copy.
It may have been. Or, yeah, actually, he was selling a copy, yeah. And so I borrowed his as he was trying to sell it just to see what it was all about. So it is a bit of an investment. Yeah, exactly. Muhammad likes to sell. So, but and I know you were talking, Nick, online about how the investment part of it is pretty steep. And I know Dan was giving you some guidance there.
Yeah. It's especially, I made probably the faulty comparison to Gloomhaven, where you and I have played 60 scenarios at this point, all for the one price point, right? I mean, it's basically, obviously, there's expansions and Frosthaven now came out, but it's one of the things where I'm sitting here, the base game of Arkham Horror only gives you 3 scenarios, and then you're right back to Amazon or your local game store saying, okay, now I need the expansion, or I need the Mythos pack or the cycle. But I do like, as I've gotten more into it just now, I'm doing some more research, and actually Joyce and I have every intention, we're going to spin it up probably next week, of playing the base scenario again, just with different investigators. And I do think that'll actually give us 3 more scenarios. And yes, we know the path that the scenarios are going to go, but it's also a deck building game, and part of the fun is going to be using a new investigator and leveling up in a different way. And so I'm legitimately looking forward to playing even the same 3 scenarios again, just with a different character.
Right.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
And the variability there is each of the characters that you play have different strengths and weaknesses. So even though you know how the scenario is going to unfold, you have to attack it in a little bit different ways because you may have a character who's strong in attacking in this this time you play through, but the next time if you take 2 other characters, you may not have anybody who's got good attack, and so you're doing more strategically running away and hiding and staying away from the bad guys and trying to solve the game a different way. And so and there is some variability depending on, in that game, if I remember, it's been a little while since we played, but at the end of each scenario, whether you fail or you succeed, there are 2 different outcomes, and then that leads you into your next game and will give you either a buff or a detriment going into the next game to make it either a little harder or a little easier. And so that's part of it's really interesting as well. And they give you a little log that you record each of your plays, and then depending on how you do, there's a little end paragraph that you read that kind of then leads you into that next scenario, whether you're you're running away and you barely escaped with your life, but now you're going to go into the next one kind of fatigued, or you killed all the bad guys, you dominated, but now you got no bullets going into the next scenario, something like that. So it was really cool.
Yeah, and then I do have to admit, part of my desire to go through it, in addition, I'm excited to play with the character. We lost. We definitely lost. we finished the 3rd scenario, and Arkham was a shitstorm, and bad things happened. I tell you what, though, it was down to a single draw, a single pull out of the chaos bag.
Oh yeah.
And we needed to succeed the check, and we didn't, and that was it. It was which then, and I don't want to belabor take up too much of y'all's time, but
Sure.
my last point on Arkham Horror is it is the only game on my shelf that I will actually describe as like punishing to the point where I guess it was fun, and I want to go back because I want to beat it. I want to go back and I want to beat it. So I guess it was fun because I'm not saying screw this, chuck it in the garbage. But man, when we lost, I mean, we done this. We played once a week for 3 weeks. And each scenario was an hour and a half, 2 hours or whatever, and then it was like, okay, we're down. Like, this is it. If we win this check, if we pull the right token, we win. If we don't, we lose. And if we didn't, and we lost, and we're just sitting there being like,
one thing
I guess I'll clean it up now.
Now, one thing I have heard in the reviews is that intro scenario, the 3 or whatever it is in the intro box. A lot of people have said that is a very punishing way to come into this game or a game like this, because a lot of the add-on content is not as hard. And I think it might be that 3rd scenario that is, they say that's one of the hardest of all of the scenarios that have ever come out for this game. And there are somebody who knows more about the game's gonna browbeat me on this, but I'm gonna say there's 80 or 90 or 100 scenarios out now for this.
I've seen boxes of cards.
Yeah.
There's like Magic the Gathering boxes worth of these cards.
There's tons of content, and actually some people will recommend that you buy the base set because you kind of need that to start building your deck and to have the base cards and the gun and the knife and the stuff that come in there, that you need some of that base stuff. But a lot of people recommend actually skipping the base game scenarios and buying some of the scenarios that came after that and playing the game that way, and just skipping those altogether, because it is very punishing in those first few, and that has turned people off having to play through those.
I think I struggled with some of that too, which part of why I fell asleep.
That could be. Yeah.
Well, Nick, man, I appreciate you calling in.
Yeah, it's great to hear from
you. Sharing some detective style games that you're getting into.
Yeah.
So thanks again.
Yeah, and I'm. Thank you very much. We'll unbox this Chronicles of Crime this weekend.
Yeah,
I'll make it happen.
Let me know what you think about the dead cats and the cake.
Yeah, and the old lady.
Bye.
Bye.
All right. The cards, the game itself, I found it to be hard. Like, I know you wanted to keep going at it.
Yeah.
Arkham Horror, the LCG is what we're talking about.
I like the challenge, yeah.
You like the challenge.
Yeah.
I like a little more, chill.
Want to ease into it a little more?
Right. I felt like it was a beat-em-up game. Lines are open again, 813-619... 7099.
Need to write that down and stick it on your monitor.
Yeah, I do. That's a new number to me.
Yeah, it's a brand new number, so it's hard to remember when you got a brand new number. But Yeah, call in, share. Again, we want to learn about some things. We've mostly talked about, actually, entirely talked about games that we've played so far, but we definitely want to hear from people on stuff that you can introduce us to. If you know other games like this, definitely let us know.
All right, we got a caller coming in. Let's see who it is. Hey, caller, state your name and where you're calling from.
Hey, I'm calling from Indiana.
Hi, what's your name?
My name is Braylon.
Hey, Braylon.
Hey, Brian.
What's going on gaming-wise for you?
Oh, I was wondering if you've played 25 Outlaws.
25 Outlaws.
Have not. I haven't heard
I'm
of
not
that.
familiar about
No?
that. Tell me more about that one. Elaborate.
Well, do you know Dave Matthews? The Dave Matthews Band?
Oh, sure, yeah.
I think Robert does. I don't. It wasn't on Univision for me growing up.
Yeah, different kind there. Yeah.
Yeah, well, he created that game. It's
Oh.
kind of like a spin-off of poker.
Oh, sweet. Okay.
25 Outlaws.
Says it came out here. I'm
Yeah.
pulling it up on BGG. Says it came out in 2019. Does that sound right? It's about 2 years old.
Yeah, sounds right.
Cool.
Tell me about your favorite play of 25 Outlaws. I want to know how it plays and what you like about it.
Well, actually, I have only played it once. My dad really enjoys it, though.
Cool.
Yeah, it's got like the artwork looks gorgeous. The box cover looks. Robert's showing it on the screen right now. The box cover looks great.
Yeah, line I'm just seeing here, just the cover. It looks like it's almost like a pencil drawn Old
Outlaws,
West.
like
Yeah,
like
Outlaws,
wanted
yeah.
posters.
There you go. Yeah, yeah.
No, very cool game.
Yeah, it was pretty creative.
You said it was the lead singer from Dave Matthews Band. This is interesting.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it is.
Yes, his artwork by Dave Matthews. Yeah, very cool. Yeah.
Old West Poker with
Yep,
outlaw
he also has-
rules.
Yeah, he has another game,
Oh, you broke up a little bit on that. What was that game? I think we
Did we lose
did.
the
We lose
caller?
Braylon.
I think we
I
may have
will-
lost. It sounded like you may have had a shaky connection, but if you can call back in, we're definitely interested in hearing more about it. But yeah, this does
Pull
say.
up the description of this one. 25 Outlaws.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to see here. Let's see if I can get more information on it. Here we go. So it says it's a 5.3 on the BGG rating.
It seems like a lighter game.
Yeah, it says the weight.
look at the weight on that
Yeah, so the
thing.
weight's not light. Let me just read here. There's a little paragraph here. It says Old West Poker with Outlaw Rules, a new card game from Chickapick, game creator Brian Calhoun and Dave Matthews. So it looks like it was co-created. by
That's
the two of them.
interesting.
Yeah, very cool. It says, while based on the classic game of poker, 25 Outlaws offers a fun Wild West twist. It's a rough and tumble game set in the Old West with outlaws, parentheses, players, using every means available to eliminate rival outlaw gangs. With duels, bank robberies, and more, 25 Outlaws is bringing new meaning to the term high stakes. While on tour, Dave Matthews drew all of the art for the game, from the chips and cards to the outlaw illustrations on the box cover. Very cool. Huh. I'll have to look for that
I
one.
gotta say the artwork looks really cool though.
Yeah.
I do like Western games. I know you like Western games,
Right. Yeah.
Immediately I'm thinking of Bang. Like I get the Bang feels from that.
A little bit. Yeah.
Bang the card game.
It's a card. Yeah. They got.
There's also Bang the dice game, which I think for me ended up kind of
Yeah.
killing Bang the card game.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, I've only played the card game a couple of times, but the dice game we played quite a bit of the dice game together. So
I think it's just
Yeah.
easier, faster, and
yeah, it's easier to teach people too. I think a little
Yes.
bit. Yeah, it's just roll some dice and then we'll tell you what happened. So a little more luck based there. But it says it's 2 to 5 players here on 25 Outlaws, age 17 and up, which is always kind of an arbitrary thing. It's had 44 ratings, but yeah, it looks interesting, especially a rocker like Dave Matthews creating a game. So I think I had heard something about him being involved with the game before.
That's a first for me. I don't
Yeah.
think I've heard that.
Yeah. So, but I didn't know anything about the game at all. So that's pretty
Phone
cool.
lines are open again, 813-618-7099, 813-618-7099. Let us know what games you're playing, why you like them, and what you're interested. That last caller was Braylon from, I believe, Indiana.
Yeah,
right?
Indiana, cool.
That's our
Our first
out-of-state call. Look at that.
Episode number 1.
We can put a pin on that state.
Yeah, cool. We got that one down. So let's look for some more. Yeah. But cool. Yeah, that's neat. I'll be like I say, we're always interested in learning about new games, and so that's one I'll have to keep my eyes open for. And maybe if it turns up at a convention or something, we'll have to pull it out. And
Was that a
get it around.
Kickstarter? Did it,
Let's see. It doesn't say there. Whoops.
looks like in 2019? It doesn't say if it's Kickstarter or not.
Yeah, it
so
doesn't.
Chickapeg Games, is that what?
Yeah, I think that was it.
Okay.
Chickapig. Yep.
Chickapig.
Yep.
Chickapig?
Yeah, I've heard of them before. Yep. Yep. They've got several games out. They've got a line.
Has Brian designed any other games?
Calhoun,
Brian Calhoun?
Look here.
What
Yeah, I
else
was
is
looking to see if I could click on Dave Matthews just to see if he's been, because I know the caller said that he had another game that he had been involved with, but they don't have Dave Matthews here as a clickable topic. So let's see here.
He's a custom guitar maker who designed the game Chickapig.
Yep. Okay, I've heard of that. Yep. All right, there we go.
That's pretty cool, seeing how other worlds collide
Yeah.
into board gaming, right?
Yeah.
You know, when you find out some of your favorite celebrities are into some of the cool topics
Yeah.
that you're into. Like, I remember the first time I found out Vin Diesel was a D&D player.
Right. Yeah.
Right, like that blew my
I'd
world.
say it blew a lot of people's minds. Big guy like him, and yeah.
You know, big, deep, gruff, win by an inch or a mile. Vin Diesel over here.
Yeah.
You know, it kind of blew my mind. So it's cool to hear about other folks who are interested in what we're interested in. I think games just bring a lot of different type of people together.
Well, I've heard a lot recently that this is one of the fastest growing hobbies in the world right now, especially in America right now, and I guess even right now, even more with the pandemic going on, people being stuck at home and playing games. But even before that, this board game hobby of ours is really taken off, and I mean we feel that with the amount of content now that versus 5 years ago, the amount of people that are online putting out content and doing things similar, and that's kind of what motivated us to do what we're doing, even though we just do it as a hobby on the side, but. Yeah, I mean it's really blowing up, and it's great. And I know you and I both are big on inclusion. We want to get more and more people in, so into the hobby, whether it be just with light games, just with fun.
You
games.
call it inclusion, I call it evangelism.
Well, there you go. Yeah,
tomato, tomato.
Yeah, exactly.
I figure the more people I bring into this gaming hobby, the more gamers I have to play with.
Yeah,
and if you look behind me, I have such a weird eclectic taste in games.
Yeah.
So I need different types of people in my gaming group, because one day I might want to scratch an itch of a war game, and another day it might be a Euro, like a heavy Euro, like Brass, right? And then sometimes it's something light.
You got
like
your mini games, and you've got your Blood Bowl and all that kind of stuff. So I wish I had that broad of an interest. So there are some things I just can't get into, but I know you've covered pretty much all the bases. So
yeah, I think I like them all. I got to catch them all.
Yeah, get them all.
I think the growth in the industry is almost like a rebellion, almost like a ricochet off of the digital world that we're in now.
Sure, yeah.
Right? We had such a huge growth from when we were kids to now in regards to video games and how they're played. And I mean, I was thinking the other day, talking to my wife about remembering the nights of World of Warcraft till 6 a.m.
Oh yeah.
Right? And then like taking a nap and then going to work, right? Like during the weeknights with my buddy Mikey, so it's
hardcore,
right? And I mean, it was so new and it was so different, and you just immerse yourself in it. But then after like a few years of that, you're like, I want to get away from this screen and actually talk to people, and have community, not just like verbally talk, because we can do that now thanks to Discord and such.
Sure.
But even the Discord stuff didn't scratch my itch when we hit the lockdown from the COOF.
Yeah.
When the lockdown, I thought, okay, we'll do what was the one we were doing online? Tabletopia?
Tabletop Simulator.
Tabletop Simulator.
Yep, we're doing a lot of
And
that.
I was like, well, it's going to be amazing. We're going to play games like we did on a regular day.
Yeah.
Right? And it was great for a little bit.
Yeah, we started with the hot and heavy on that for a couple of months, and then it really fizzled off. And
well, because I think at a certain point, it kind of, every time I played it, it reminded me that this is a proxy of the real thing that I want.
What we really want to be doing,
which is being in the same room with other people,
hanging out with people, interacting. Yeah, absolutely.
And that's why I think I really believe that's a big part of the growth is it's we made it so easy to be connected digitally.
Yeah,
that it's easier to be disconnected from people physically. and now it's
Yeah.
kind of rebounding the other way.
I have to hope, yeah. Have to hope that more of the young generation will do that. So that'll be time will tell whether the kids, our kids, and beyond will pull away from the screens. I just see so much of my two sons, just in front of that PlayStation, hours and hours on end. They break away and do other things. Like our youngest ones now are online playing video games, but they actually use their iPads to connect to each other to talk,
Right.
and to video share so they can see each other. But then they're on the computers or
The
whatever.
Roblox, playing the Roblox on there.
Yeah, Roblox and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, I'm hoping.
I think it's on us to show them the different way, and I'm doing that. I've spent this week, because we're camping. My two younger boys, Julian and Gabriel, and I will be camping this weekend.
cool.
I spent the week preparing, so I've got 3 Blood Bowl teams that I've built, one for each of them. So I built each of them a human team, and then I built myself. And folks, don't forget, phone lines are open, 813-618-7099. Give us a call. Give us a shout. Let us know what you've been playing. But I've been working on the Blood Bowl team, so I built up a human team for each of the 2 boys and started in the same. And then I built up for myself a halfling team, because the halflings, it's all luck, dice roll luck for the most part. A very difficult team to win with. And the plan is for this weekend, we're going to do 2 matches against each of us. We'll play each other 2 times, and we'll call that a league.
Yeah.
We will call that a league. And that's part of it's because the new second season came out, so it's really on my mind right now, the Blood Bowl. But the other part is getting the boys off the screens,
Sure.
and doing something with each other across the gridiron, the original fantasy football gridiron.
Yeah. Real fantasy football, a new definition of fantasy. So,
Yeah, I mean, it's the original fantasy football. You can't deny that.
yeah, well, I guess so. I'm more into the
I think I failed with you because
Yeah.
when I tried to teach you, I had just gotten the game. So I had just gotten the game. We had driven to Georgia. We were in Atlanta,
yeah,
right? And I was trying to read the rules while driving up there, trying to figure this thing out.
Dragon Con, yep.
And we headed up to Dragon Con, and after we worked like a 10-hour shift for
That's right.
who
yeah.
was that? Cool Mini or not? No,
Cool Stuff.
Cool Stuff
Inc.
It was Cool Stuff Inc. We
Yep.
worked at like a 10-hour shift for Cool Stuff, volunteering time in trade for games.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's volunteering if you get something
yeah.
for it.
Yeah, working for the hobby. Yeah.
And then we find a corner in Dragon Con where I tried to teach you the game, and I didn't even know the game.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking that's where I failed. Is my inability to get that game across to you made it seem just like a random slap fest.
Yeah. Yeah.
So with the new season rules out, I'm going to get some games under my feet.
Okay, we'll learn it.
Right.
Yeah.
The FAQs are coming out now, and it's rocking everyone's world, and interpretations are coming around on what they really meant. They're interpreting the interpretation of the rules that just came out.
So 3rd edition, right?
No, it's actually like the 6th or 7th.
Oh, is it? Okay. Okay.
Game's been around since 85 or something.
Guess these pictures I'm looking at are old. Then they're 3rd edition. So
No, 3rd edition was a while ago.
way back. Okay.
Yeah, you're taking it way back.
Let me go. Let's see if I can find.
We're
one.
on 2nd season now, is what they call it.
Okay.
So 2016 was the last version before that. I think it's like the 6th edition for the most part. But once I figure out this rule set and I get it down pat a little better, then I'm going to pull you back in. We're going to run through a game and see what your thoughts are then.
Okay.
When I actually play it the right way.
Okay. There we go. There's 2nd season. I got it here. So 8.9. Wow, that's impressive on BGG for Blood Bowl.
For a 30-year-old game.
yeah,
30-something-year-old game.
2nd season. 3.3 weight, 2 players. As we know, it's a head-to-head game. It says 45 to 120 minutes. Is that about right? About an hour a game? Maybe not so much.
And this is what I do like about the game. It's recommended to use a timer, but not until you get into things that matter. Right? When
Okay.
you're in tournament games or you're in a playoff setting, then you use the timer to really keep the game moving. But I will say it takes me about 2 hours
Okay.
to get a game.
Get a game in. That scares me. I
The
just
sprues, the
pulled up on
building?
the pulled up on the BGG. Yeah,
it is a hobby game.
Yeah.
So Blood Bowl is definitely a hobby game. It's a lifestyle game. The models aren't as hard to build as you'd think. If Rob is scanning my
Oh yeah, I'm
my
looking, I can
desk
see over
here,
there. Oh yeah, look
it's-
at this. Ooh, that just looks scary to me.
I'm hiding from you all folks at home all the gunk and the models and the plastic that I have on this side of the.
Oh yeah,
Of the
just off
studio.
screen. Yeah,
But I've assembled everything.
yeah.
So it's all assembled. It's all ready to go. The
Okay.
teams will be there for you.
All right.
I'll make it easy.
Okay. Well, I'm willing to jump in. You know, I've always been willing to play.
Let's talk smartphone.
Oh yeah. So we just played Smartphone Inc.
Got about 10 minutes till the show ends up. Lines are open, 813-618-7099. Give us a ring. Give us a call. Let us know what you've been playing.
Yeah, I'll pull up some pictures of your smartphone. But we've both played a couple times before. You've played what? This was maybe your third play,
Second.
second play. Really? That
Second.
was it.
I bought it.
Oh.
It's up there. Somewhere
Another one of
behind
those.
me. Somewhere behind
It's on the
Patchwork.
shelf. Yeah. And I've played it. I think either 3 or 4. I think that was my fourth play. I think I've played it 4 times now. And yeah, good game. I mean, that's it's on the Dice Tower Essentials game
Oh,
list.
did it make Essentials?
Yeah, it's one of they've got their Essentials line. So about 1 or 2 games a year, Tom and the Dice Tower crew have their own little stamp, and so it's a game that they discovered. It's already designed. It's already out there. Usually, Tom, maybe had a preview of it before it hit the market, and then he'll put his stamp on it as part of the Dice Tower Essentials. And so I don't know if they make any money off the sales or anything like that once he stamps it, but he tries to choose, as according to Tom Vassell, he tries to choose games that are different. He wants to have like a
Oh, it's
deck
definitely
builder.
different.
Yeah, he wants a deck builder. He wants a worker placement. He's not looking just for a certain style of game, but he's looking for games that are accessible. He loves having the steps and the directions for the game be very clear and obvious, like in Smartphone Inc.
Oh my God, you're right.
your turn order
The
is
top of the bar.
on the board. Yeah, it shows you each step of what to do for each round of the game, and so it's all real easy to follow, real easy to go through. But yeah,
Some people would call it minimalist in the way they did the board, and I think Rob's going to pull it up for us.
yeah.
Minimalist might be a way to use. I call it ugly.
Okay, well, it is.
I
Yep.
think it's ugly.
Yeah, the main board. I'll have it up here in just a second.
It is.
It is pretty plain, yeah. Plain. I don't know if I'd say ugly, but it's plain. It's minimalist. So here,
When she calls you cute, yeah, you're ugly.
yeah. So here's a picture of.
She just wants to be friends.
Hold on here. They've got kind of a zoomed in here, so it's that's about maybe a quarter of the board.
It's just more of that. Like if you see that, there's just a bunch more of that all over the board.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not the prettiest.
Yeah, so the board's not particularly pretty. It's functional. Again,
That's the key for me, right? So if Dice Tower Essentials their goal, I can see it over here.
Okay.
If Dice Tower Essentials goal is to provide you a game that's easy to understand what's going on, I think they hit the mark with this one.
Yeah.
The tracker at the top of the board has the symbols of each of the steps,
okay,
right?
yeah.
That match
There it
the
is there.
symbols on your tableau.
Right. Yep.
So it made it so easy for me to recognize these icons on my tablets. Let me call them not tableaus, tablets.
Yeah.
Because in the game of smartphone, what you're doing is you're playing the role of smartphone companies
Right.
creating and selling smartphone products to different regions of the world.
Right.
And the way you win the game is by having the most money at the end of the game. The way you get money is at the end of each of the 5 rounds, you're going to sell goods into the markets that you're in.
Right.
And then you're also going to gain dollars for technologies that you unlock first,
Right.
such as an NFC, 4G, gaming phones,
Yep.
right? So kind of building a better quality phone. You're also going to get dollars for controlling regions on the board. So different countries or region of countries, markets effectively.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
So if you have the most goods in those markets, you have control of those markets, you get points at the end of the round for that. So it's how many goods did you sell?
Right.
Right. What's the value
What price,
of
yep.
the phone that you're selling them at? So that's a multiplied thing.
Mm-hmm.
What regions do you have the most goods in?
Right.
So you're going to get points for that. And then you're going to get points at the end of the game for what technologies did you unlock first.
Right.
So that's the basic gist of what the game plays like. Now, how you play. So at the start of each turn, you've got these tablets that you're going to have in front of you. These like cardboard tablets. I'm going to say like a 4x6 size. And they've got different icons on them. So it really looks like a front of an iPhone with all the apps.
Exactly. Yep.
And each of the symbols on there represent a different action that you're going to do for anything. So when you take these 2 tablets and you have to lay them on top of each other.
Right.
When you lay them on top of each other, that's a good image right there that kind of shows the tablet at the bottom. You're going to lay these tablets on top of each other, and whatever is showing faced up are the actions that you will take that round.
Yeah.
So the first step of the game is the puzzle, the hardest part.
Oh yeah, that's where the one place the game bogs down a little bit is that first step of every round. And here I think this is a little more zoomed in version of it.
You're going to take these little cardboard chits and tablets, and you're going to lay them on top of each other in a puzzle type way.
Right.
They're double-sided, so it makes it even harder, folks.
Yeah, so you got to look at both sides, figure out what you want to do.
Because not all the icons are on both sides.
Right.
Like one side might have more research, which is the gear technology. Another side might have more of the price increase of the phone, which is the dollar symbol plus. So you got to play this puzzle behind the screen.
And there's rules about how they have to overlap. The two tablets have to be overlapping at least one square. You have these extra little tablets you can see here that are just the 1x2s that you gain.
These are things you gain from factory actions throughout the game.
Right. So, and then you have to overlap those in certain ways on the bottom board, and they can't hang off and things. So, yeah, it's really that puzzle part of it is probably you spend probably about a third of the game just doing that puzzle. Yeah, each round.
I think the best part about it is the puzzle is there's only 5 turns.
Yeah.
So you're only really doing it 5 times.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And at the at the beginning it's easy because you only got your 2 tablets plus your 1 extra chit for your faction or your company name.
Yep.
Like I was the Australian-based Shooting Star.
There you go. Yeah.
But once you start taking more of the yellow factory actions, you pick up more of these little tablets, 1x2s.
Right, with 1x2.
That 2 icons on one side. And it becomes harder to figure out how to do what you want to do.
Yeah, it gives you more options, which in some cases is bad. Too many options, and then you're trying to optimize the best way to lay it out. So, and the game moves fast. I know, again, last night was just your second play, but I think at round 4 you were like, okay, we're about halfway through, right? And then Mike was like, no, we have one.
Because I had
left.
a strategy. I was like, I'm going to go all purple, which is research. I'm going to research the crap out of all the technology. Then I'm going to increase the price of my phone, and then I'm going to go hit the markets.
Like, nope, you have 1 turn left. 1 round left.
And I'm like holding these very expensive phones.
Yeah.
And I have not taken time to take the blue action, which is the logistics action, which lets you spread out into new markets.
Yep.
So I'm very limited in markets. And one of the very cool things about the game is how they do the turn structure. So who goes first? Initiative order is going to be based on, number 1, who has the lowest price phone.
Right.
They get to go first.
Yep.
And then number 2, who has the lowest cash in points will go before on ties for the value of the phone.
Right.
So I found myself in the last turn with this high value phone, low number of goods, right? So I didn't have a lot of them to sell and no markets to go to, and I was going last. So by the time I went to go place my goods, all of you had already filled up all the markets that I would have been able to really win area control in.
And that's the trade-off in the game is you can either go low with your price and you could sell cheap kind of junky phones and you can get in first. You can lay yours in the markets first and you can fill up the spots before the people with more expensive phones get there, or you can go expensive and not place as many cubes. So you've got maybe $7 a phone, but you only place 3 phones, so you get 21 points. Or you can go $3 a phone and place 7 in 7 of the market spots when they're open because you get to go first.
But then that's 7 goods that you placed out there, and you're using those 7 goods to mark area control of those different regions.
Right. Yeah.
So if you're going less goods, higher price, you're also not getting points from area control.
Yep. It's all a trade-off.
There's so much balance.
Yep. You do one, you can't do the other. So
there's factory actions that you take, and the factory actions let you get more of the little tablet icon, so it can help you diversify where you're headed.
Right.
So you can start adding different types of actions to kind of be, I want to do more research in the next couple of turns. Let me get some research from the factory.
Yeah.
And then after you take your factory, you do your researches, and this is where you're kind of rushing to put your research markers into the different technologies at the bottom of the board, because the first person that gets there gets a special one-time bonus of points. But then everyone else can follow you there, and it's cheaper for you to follow them in the tech for the most part.
Yeah.
But they also get that benefit, not the points that you got, the one-time points, but they get the benefit of that area. That area might have a benefit that says something along the lines of, you are now allowed to hang on to your goods in between turns, when normally you have to discard
them all,
leftover goods because you have nowhere to hold them.
And you haven't had a chance to play yet with the Automa in this one, but I played the first time
Steve,
I played.
I think his name
Steve. Yeah, me and Dan played, and then we decided you can play it. I think it was originally designed if you were playing by yourself solo, it would give you an opponent, but they've integrated it to where you can play with any amount of players. So if I play with 4 players, I could still add Steve as a 5th player, and they did a really good job with the way that he works and the way that he moves around.
Was that a
board
pun?
and takes stuff.
Steve did a good job.
Steve Jobs.
Steve Jobs
Yeah, no,
did a,
no, that was unintentional, but
no puns.
no pun included. No pun intended. Yeah, yeah, but no, it was really well done. It's one of the better AIs that I've seen in a board game. So that's.
Have you played with the advanced rules yet?
I have not. No, I haven't added in any of
Where
the
that each
extras.
each
Yeah.
of the icons on your tablets have a varying cost.
Right.
So as you take the actions, you now have to decide: do I want to take the more expensive actions and actually lose victory points?
My brain is just about enough Bernie in
I'm
this
done.
one that I don't know about adding the extra in on it, but
I'm
no.
sticking to just the basic game of this one, and it is a gem.
yeah,
It is
a good one.
definitely a gem.
Yeah, it's definitely it's right up there around my top 10 probably of all time, but it's a good game. Yeah, really good game.
It was only my second play. In the first play, I walked away like, well, that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
The second play, I walked away like, that was so easy.
Yeah, it was quick. It was quick and easy. Yeah, once you know it, it's quick. Mm.
And who makes that one? Let's share that.
Oh, let me go back to the main site here.
Now it looks like we hit the 10 o'clock hour. I'm
Yes,
going to go ahead and turn the phone lines off for you folks
Right at 10 o'clock.
that did call. Thank you so much for participating. Share with your friends. Let them know what we're doing. The goal here at the end of the day is to communicate with y'all.
Yeah.
Connect with y'all.
Just open an opportunity for anybody who might be stuck at home on a Thursday night who just wants to talk about some games, just to give you a chance to log on. Again, hopefully we're hoping to learn from you about some new games that we might need to try out. We enjoy just talking about games anyway, so even if we don't have anybody call in, we're still just going to talk about stuff that
we're going to do that anyway. So
yeah, exactly. So
join us on the next one. So Smartphone Inc.
It's Cosmodrome Games. It looks like he's the publisher, designer Ivan Lashin, Lashin, and artist Victor Miller Goss.
I believe there's an expansion out too now, right?
There is, or I know that at least the Kickstarter was a Kickstarter, and the Kickstarter came out with an expansion. So I don't know if that's on the market or if they're going to sell that aftermarket, but there is. It's got some additional components that you can add in, some extra things to do. But 60 to 90 minutes, it's advertised. I think we played last night, right about an hour. It may have been just over an hour.
Gosh, it was so fast. It was too fast.
Yeah, exactly.
We had about 2 hours to kill, and it ended too fast.
Yeah, and a 7.8 rating. Anything around an 8 on BGG is really a superior game. So
I don't disagree. All right, folks. On that note, we are the Beans and Dice Podcast. I am Carlos.
I'm Rob.
And we'll be back again, hopefully Thursday. We're going to
night.
try to do this Thursday night.
Every Thursday, yeah.
9 p.m. Eastern. For about an hour. We'll take your calls. Hopefully, share with your friends. Let them know what we're doing, and give us a shout. Let us know what you thought of the show. Thumbs up if you liked it. Subscribe. Make sure you hit the bell so you get notified when we're doing this. If we pop up with like a random one.
Oh yeah.
Thanks again for watching the Beans and Dice Podcast. We will catch you folks on the next one.
Thanks everybody. Keep gaming.
Bye everybody.
Thanks for watching the Beans and Dice podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe.